I can confidently say that I have never been in total love with a rat before, but Zenless Zone Zero is officially about to change that. Jane Doe is coming to the second half of the 1.1 patch, and she is amazing. Her playstyle is very unique and fun, and we're going to discuss a lot about her today. The main question we need to answer in this video is, should you pull for Jane Doe? How valuable is she, both in the meta and as a free-to-play player? Well, my friends, we're going to answer these right now, so grab yourself some cheese and let's do this. As an important note, all of the content in this video is from the creator experience test version of Zenless Zone Zero. Because this is solely based on the test version, this may in fact change for the final online results and values, although probably pretty minor. Thank you very much to Hoyoverse for granting early access, and with that being said, let's start answering some questions. Let's begin here by demonstrating her kit and power, as well as her optimal usage. Then we will be able to further dive into her value as a meta standpoint and from a free-to-play player perspective. Rat Mommy is our upcoming S-rank Physical Anomaly character in the second half of 1.1. Jane will primarily focus on a couple of mechanics to really make her shine, and the first of these is the passion state. You see this little meter right here under her face? Well, every attack of Jane's, as well as a defensive assist or perfect dodge, will cause this meter to increase until it finally turns into passion state. In this mode, Jane's physical anomaly buildup rate is increased by 25%, and for every one stat point above 120 anomaly proficiency for Jane Doe, her attack will increase by 2 up to a maximum of 600. Any attacks that deal damage will cause this passion stream to deplete. However, perfect dodges, defensive assists, as well as her basic attack Sao Chow Jump will increase the meter. A little bit more on this in a little bit. Before we hop into the actual moveset, let's switch it up and start talking about some core passives because they're both pretty stinking good. Insight states that when Jane's attacks hit an enemy, they will enter a nod state. Lucky them, because who wouldn't want to be in the nod state from Miss Jane Doe? And yes, I hope you all are very ready for a lot of down battery. Basically, this just means if any squad member causes assault and flinch, the flinch portion will be extended by 5 seconds. As a reminder, flinch is the second part of the physical attribute anomaly, which increases the daze that enemy takes. Additionally, assault damage has a chance to crit. At level 1 of the passive, the crit rate is 25%, 40 at max, and a flat crit damage of 50 no matter what level. However, each point of our beloved rat's anomaly proficiency further increases crit rate by 0.11%, 0.16 at max. For reference, this free-to-play friendly build that I tested on Jane has an anomaly proficiency of 401. With our quick math abilities, we can see that is already a 44% crit rate increase because of that passive. In other words, simplifying this beast of a passive, Jane already does a lot of assault damage and frequently.
That's a lot of damage!
With the passive, the anomaly damage and overall daze is further increased with a chance to crit. And holy does it ever. I mean, just look at this damage to Nineveh in the Inferno Reap mode. Jane's second passive we will discuss a bit more in the team synergy section, but for now, just remember that this is activated with another anomaly agent or of the same squad. It's a flat increase of 20% physical anomaly buildup rate for Jane. Additionally, when the enemy is affected by physical anomaly, it increases by another 15%. You'll see the absolute destruction this causes throughout the gameplay on this video. Jane's basic attacks are all pretty standard, depending on if you're in the passion state or not. If you aren't in the state, her normal basic attack is called Dancing Blades, simply dealing 6 frontal attacks, dealing physical damage. Like stated previously, in the passion state, Jane Doe acquires stronger moves, all building to massive physical and assault damage. Additionally, Sao Chow Jump is a one-time use enhanced basic attack when you enter this state. When you have an activation indicated by this dot next to her passion meter, you will hold down the basic attack button to activate it. The longer you hold the button, the longer the duration of the move. Releasing it will cause the finishing strike to finish early. Anti-interrupt is increased and Jane takes 40% reduced damage. Full invulnerability is granted during the final strike. The main calling card of Sao Chow Jump is both of course the massive amounts of anomaly as well as the increase to the passion stream meter. Jane's specials are the most straightforward part of her kit. Aerial Sweep is the form without energy and will just simply do physical damage with increased anti-interrupt level. EX Special Aerial Sweep Tail Swipe is the enhanced energy using form, leaping into the air and launching a series of kicks and sweeps, dealing increased physical damage. Also, it kinda seems like every time I use the EX Special, it basically is an automatic assault activation. My favorite rat also has the most interesting dodge mechanics in the game. Firstly, she actually has 2 full dodges outside of the passion state. While in the passion state, she can actually use this to pass through enemies in front of her while dodging. Her dash attack edge jump is the regular form. Granted, I almost never use the regular form because I'm pretty much always wanting to do dodge counters on Jane. But here's where it's a little bit interesting. If you use it after Jane's first dodge, she will have a separate animation than if you do it after the second dodge. Through my testing, I have found that using dash attack after the second dodge is slightly better, but ultimately this is kind of just a cool little extra thing to not really concern yourself about in the general flow of her gameplay. Also, no matter what dash attack you use, inside or out of the passion state, you will always be dealing physical damage, of course. Her dash attack Phantom Thrust is her passion state version and will simply just deal the 3 quick slashes. She also has the 2 different dodge counter animations depending on passion state or not as well. Outside of the passion state, Swift's Shadow changes based on if it's used after this first or second dodge, similar to the regular dash attack. The more important move is Swift Shadow Dance, the perfect dodge form in the passion state. This may sound a little complicated, but really it breaks down to this. During the general rotation of using Jane, you want to be using a lot of dodge attacks to continually replenish and stay in the passion state. Like stated before, in my testing I never really saw a massive difference between either the first or second dodge attacks. It's just kind of an extra neat mechanic to deal with different boss attack patterns, in the grand scheme of things. When you have 3000 decibel rating, aka max, you know what time it is. Press Q to activate Final Curtain. Our rat waifu will slash enemies in a pretty massive area, dealing huge physical damage. But my friends, there is one more important thing we must remember about this ultimate. Immediately after you use it, Jane will get max Passion Stream. In fact, in what I found to be an optimal rotation, I would use this ultimate right when my Passion state ended to immediately get it back, as well as another charge of Sao Chao Jump. Now that we know the moveset, let's quickly break down the best way to optimize her potential. In your squad, Jane will be the primary insane source of your damage, as well as the unit on the field for the longest time. Her most optimal gameplay will come from being in that passion state as long as possible. Luckily, she has a lot of ways to mitigate the loss of this meter and actually increase it. In this regard, she wants to always be dodge attacking to reignite that meter. Another tip is once you're in the passion state, use that Sao Chao Jump basic attack once the meter's depleted a little bit to give it another boost. Finally, when the meter is almost gone, you can use the ultimate to fully replenish the meter, maintaining the insane amount of anomaly. The enemy will pretty much always be in that nod state from the core passive, so assault damage will naturally crit and continually do a ton of damage. Part of her value comes from her best in slot W engine as well, the Sharpened Stinger. Upon using her amazing dash attacks, you'll gain 1 stack of Predatory Instinct. This will stack up to 3 times, and each stack increases the equipper's physical damage by 12% for 10 seconds. It can trigger every half a second, and repeated triggers reset the duration. When first entering combat or triggering perfect dodge, you'll instantly gain 3 stacks. At these 3 or max stacks, the equipper's anomaly buildup rate increases by 40%. So yeah, this W engine's pretty insane. You basically just get a free 36% physical damage boost, as well as a 40% anomaly buildup rate increase just from using Jane optimally. Now that that is all out of the way, we can finally start answering the question, is she worth pulling? We can actually answer this by looking at her team synergies, her value as a meta unit, as well as from that free-to-play standpoint. We won't go into a ton of detail about the team synergies in this video, and I'll save that for the full Jane guide that I'll release when she fully gets released. Make sure to join me in being a Jane Doe simp by subscribing to the channel for when that video goes live. I've done a bunch of testing with a lot of different combos for Jane. However, the best team I have found is Grace, herself, and Seth. who is actually in fact Jane's best partner. I'll also release a full Seth guide in a few days. This will of course showcase everything about him and everything that I've tested in early access. For the sake of this video, just know that Seth provides a crazy amount of utility and buffs for anomaly agents, specifically Jane Doe. The main thing we'll shout out here is Seth's debuff he places on the enemy, which is a 20% reduction to the target's anomaly buildup resistance. In other words, the enemy will be much more susceptible to anomaly characters, not even just Jane. Anyway, back to Mommy's teams. While Grace is her best teammate, she actually doesn't get a lot of use in the general rotation. Mainly because Seth already has a lot of shock, she's just kinda there for an extra bonus. I've also done some testing with the electric stun units. Mainly Qingyi is who I'm going to refer to here, and she works pretty well, but not nearly as optimally as that best team. The main issue here is that Jane wants to be the star of the show, and she consistently wants to be on the field dealing that assault damage. Using the Grace, Jane, and Seth team, I was able to hit 64 million damage on Nineveh in Inferno Reap. All of it, of course, in the free-to-play build. Nobody had their signature engines or anything. But when I swapped Grace for Qingyi, the damage went a lot lower. While Qingyi is still an amazing unit, don't get me wrong, she just took a lot of screen time away from Jane, so I didn't get nearly as many assault and anomaly damage. The same can be said about Piper, our other physical anomaly unit. I really just couldn't find a good rotation to use her as well as Jane in the same team. In fact, for either Qingyi or Piper, they were really only optimal if I was just using them for chain attacks. Another good option if you don't have Grace to go with Jane is Rena. While Alexandrina is kind of more focused on shock, those extra debuffs and buffs she provides are actually really nice. It'll just kind of come down to whatever units you do have on your account, and any support will be fine as long as their core passives are met and you're getting those extra buffs and debuffs. Let's now fully put it all together and discuss how valuable Jane Doe is. While she may not be as universal as Qingyi was in the first half, she still has a lot of things to consider if you do want to pull for her. Firstly, think about physical weakness for a second. While any of the current physical DPSs can get the job done, unless you have Nekomata, the content's a little bit tougher and takes more investment. Jane really solves this issue even if you do have Nekomata. We can already see that the meta is starting to shift slowly towards Anomaly. Jane is also very future-proof in this aspect, so we don't have to worry about any potential power creep. Don't forget that we have the drip marketing for Bernice, who is a fire anomaly unit coming in 1.2. And yeah, we currently don't know anything about her or her abilities or anything like that, but chances are that she will pair really well with Jane when she releases. This is also insanely good from a free-to-play side of things. We can clearly see firsthand that Jane will be amazing for a long time to come, because of what we've already discussed with the meta shift and the future-proofing. But let me explicitly say it, if you are a free-to-play player, you should definitely consider pulling Jane. In my opinion, anomaly teams are the most fun compositions in the game right now, and I love the playstyle. I gotta admit, at first I wasn't too sure about anomaly units in general, but Jane has made me a believer. And I promise I'm not just saying that because I would never give her up, or let her down, or run around and desert her. Yeah, sorry for that. Anyway, there's one more important thing that you have to consider that I mention in every single one of these Should You Pull videos. Pull for whoever you want. If you are in love with the Rat Thyran as much as I am, you should definitely pull for Jane Doe, but ultimately, the choice is yours. But if you want the absolute answer for me, yes, she is definitely worth your polychromes, and you should definitely pull her. Her meta value and utility is still through the roof, and is too much to consider passing up on in my opinion. Plus, she's got great assets. And there you have it. That's my opinion of Jane Doe in Zenless Zone Zero Early Access for the 1.1 patch. As a reminder, all of the content you've seen in this video is from the Early Access Creator Beta server. With that in mind, it is subject to change, although probably pretty minor if at all, for the full launch. As usual, if you have any questions or comments regarding this video, let me know in the comments below, and I would love to discuss Jane Doe with all of you. Like the video if it helped in any way, and subscribe to the channel for that full Jane guide coming up when she does fully release. In the meantime, I'll be working on that Seth full guide so you guys are prepared for his release at the same time. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, all it takes is one pull. Bye for now.